So Professor Salil Vadhan is one of the two faculty directors. As I mentioned, along with Gary, they really led and then pushed the OpenDP project all the way through all the difficulties you can imagine, all the way to today's state, and then all the accomplishments we have made along with the team. It's a great team effort over here. Over the past 2 years, we just want to give everybody an overview of where we are and where we're going. Salil.
Great, thanks, Annie. And Annie, I think you're being too generous in your introductions and not taking enough credit yourself for keeping all the gears moving in the project, and we wouldn't be where we are without you. So welcome, everyone. Let me add my welcome to Gary's earlier for joining us for the second OpenDP Community Meeting. It is really energizing to see such a great turnout, even after I'm sure many of you are experiencing Zoom fatigue. And I think it's a testament to the collective mission we all have in our work on differential privacy and trying to bring it to applications. So as Annie said, in this presentation, Annie and I are going to try to give you a sense of where we are and where we're going, to give you some context for the more deep dive presentations that you'll see in the next couple of days, and the breakout groups that are going to meet on Friday. And most importantly, and really what the goal of this meeting is, to help you identify ways in which you can engage with OpenDP going forward. And let me also just add a thanks to John for that very inspiring talk, which really feeds in, I think, very well into a lot of the things that we are trying to accomplish and hope comes out of this meeting over these few days. So I'm going to start with kind of a little bit of a brief recap, and I'm sure we have some people who are new in this community meeting and haven't joined us in the past, of the goals of OpenDP. Give credit to our team and the support we have for the project. And then I will talk about progress and plans first on the software side, and then on the community side, and then reiterate that the goals for the meeting, and hand it over to Annie, who will talk about some of the specific programs that we've been running, what we're doing around licensing, and plans for the meeting, as well as how we manage our roadmap of the project. So, OpenDP, what is it? It is a community effort to build a trustworthy and open source suite of differential privacy tools that can be easily adopted by custodians of sensitive data to make it available for research and exploration in the public interest. So that's our vision and mission that we've set out with. And why are we trying to do this? Well, personally, what has excited me most about being a part of this effort is the idea of bringing this community together to channel all of the advances that we're making on the science and practice of differential privacy, with the belief that by working together, we can build software that's more trustworthy, provides greater utility, and has larger impact. And we can foster greater adoption of differential privacy to address compelling use cases. And we can provide an advanced starting point for custom differential privacy solutions where they're needed. And in the other direction, and for those of us who are researchers, I believe this effort will and already has started to uncover many important and fundamental new research questions for the field. So OpenDP was founded with very generous support from the Sloan Foundation starting in 2019, and which is still provides the core of our funding. We also, from that time, from the beginning, have had a very strong collaboration with Microsoft around building a differential privacy curator application known as Smart Noise, and that effort and collaboration is still going strong. And we're also very grateful for gifts from Apple and Facebook to support OpenDP, and grants from the Census Bureau and DARPA that partly support aspects of the work that we're doing in OpenDP. OpenDP is led by an executive committee on which Gary, Annie, and I are joined by our chief privacy engineer, James Honecker, who's now based at Facebook, and Andrew Viros, who's our senior library architect. The group that, jumped ahead of the slide. The group that really deserves credit for all the progress we've made so far at OpenDP is our wonderful team of developers, staff, and students that are shown here on the slide. It looks like a big team, but most of these people are working on OpenDP with just a fraction of their time and have been doing a fantastic job and going above and beyond in advancing the project in spite of very limited person hours. We're also very grateful to the many thought leaders who are on our advisory board led by Jerome Miklau and Adam Smith, and have been and continue to provide us with invaluable advice on what we've been doing and where we should be headed in OpenDP. So now to jump to the software, as a kind of recap of the overall software plans for OpenDP, we envision our building the OpenDP software in a way that's divided into an OpenDP Commons and a number of different OpenDP product solutions. The Commons is the community-governed portion of OpenDP, which will contains the vetted core of a library of differentially private algorithms, as well as other general-purpose tools and packages. The OpenDP product solutions will include end-to-end differentially private systems that will usually be built in a partnership to address a particular set of use cases and govern more independently. The first such example of such a product is the smart noise system I mentioned earlier that we built in partnership with Microsoft and are continuing to work on. And by definition, these products will be powered by components from the OpenDP Commons, and conversely, we expect that efforts to build these products will result in new or improved general purpose components to be contributed back to the Commons, subject to community vetting as appropriate. So as an update on where we are on the software side, we're very excited. Many of you probably saw the announcement a week ago of the first public release of the OpenDP library that we've been spending the last couple of years designing and architecting. And you'll learn more about this in the presentation tomorrow by Mike Shumate and Andrew Viros. What the OpenDP library is it's built upon an extensible programming framework that allows you to build differentially private algorithms from modular components. It's implemented in Rust with bindings for Python, and currently supports some basic summary statistics, privacy mechanisms, and combinators for combining the components to build more complex differentially private algorithms. Tomorrow, you'll also hear about work on the DP Creator, which is due to be released in the next month or two. And what this is a graphical user interface for creating differentially private releases that can be used by people without expertise in differential privacy. And it's designed to integrate with research data repositories, such as those running the Dataverse software. You'll hear more about that tomorrow. And we've been continually working with Microsoft to update and improve the smart noise system. And in particular, we are in the process of adapting it to work with the new OpenDP library that was just released, replacing the old library that was powering smart noise before, adding additional functionality for support of SQL queries, as well as synthetic data generation. And we've been working, and Annie will talk about it a bit more, and you'll see some examples of later this afternoon, bringing it to applications through the Smart Noise Early Adopter Accelerator program. Next, priorities on the OpenDP software. We have in mind a number of improvements to the core library that Andy and Mike will talk about in their presentation tomorrow. On the side of the DP Creator, we really want to now start to bring it to some real use cases. You'll also hear a little bit about that tomorrow, such as the Australian Data Archive, and actually get it integrated with data repositories. We want to build it out to support an interactive mode where an analyst can make queries on the data set and not just support releases, different private releases. and build an accompanying DP Explorer tool that will allow an analyst to explore through a graphical interface the results of differentially private releases. Another piece of software that we don't have a dedicated presentation on, but that we are building, software or database really, is what's known as the Epsilon registry, if many of you may have heard of. And what this is meant to be is a registry and dataset documenting key implementation decisions made in the application of differential privacy. And the idea here is both to provide transparency for the applications of differential privacy, as well as to build a body of knowledge about the practice of differential privacy, so that we can all learn from the experiences that other organizations are having. And if you're interested in this, Friday's breakout discussion on best practices for using differential privacy will relate to a lot of the purposes, the goals of the Epsilon registry, that breakout being led by Deirdre Mulligan and Kobe Nisim. And finally, I think the software, the OpenDP software is starting to reach a stage of maturity where we're really ready to work with you all in the coming months to bring it to applications to support the goal of research and exploration in the public interest. And we really want to engage the community on this, not just building the software, but bringing it to applications. So let me turn to the community front, which is what this meeting is all about. So as a recap, we really take a broad view of what is the OpenDP community. At the core is probably where many of the those of you attending this meeting fit in. Those are the people who will really contribute to or make direct use of the OpenDP software. But we shouldn't forget that there's a wide array of stakeholders affected by and who care about the application of differential privacy. In particular, the communities of the data subjects whose data is being shared using differentially private methods. And it's really important for us as a community to find ways to engage with this whole range of the sort of different concentric circles of stakeholders and parts of the OpenDP community. So far, towards engaging with the community and kind of working our way outwards, we launched a new website for OpenDP this spring as a way of being able to get more information out to the community about what we're doing, and also as a mechanism for pulling feedback in. We launched the OpenDP Fellows program that Annie will talk about in more detail this summer as a way for people in the community, practitioners and researchers in differential privacy to do residencies with the OpenDP project to engage with and contribute to it. Over the last month or two, the team has built a documentation and contribution guide for OpenDP, which give more guidance on how you can use the software and contribute to it. And of course, we have this community meeting as a way to engage with you all. Going forward, what we really want to do is transition from kind of this high-level engagement with the community where we inform you about our plans and progress and get high-level feedback from you to real concrete ways in which you all can participate in what we're doing. Key to that is an idea that we want coming out of this community meeting, and in particular out of Friday's breakout sessions, to emerge a number of community working groups to follow up on the ideas that are generated in these breakout discussions, to flesh out ways in which we can improve what we're doing in OpenDP and advance the software as well as the other goals. So to recap some of the breakout sessions that we have on Friday, one relating very much to what John was calling for in his talk. One is, should we as a community be producing a common open repository of educational materials about differential privacy? And what are the challenges in doing so, and kind of how should we approach that? And that's one of the breakout groups led by Joe Neer and Adam Smith will be on that topic. Another important one is, how do we as a community choose applications to try to bring differential privacy software, or OpenDP software in particular, to? What should we be thinking about in order to maximize positive social impact and minimize negative impacts that we have through the use of our software. So how do we think about that? What are the principles that should govern us there? And there's a breakout group being led by Dana Boyd and Katrina Liggett on that topic. There's another breakout discussion, which is going to be about contributing to the OpenDP Commons and what's the process for that? How can you contribute? What are the answer questions you have? Another one that I mentioned earlier is on this best practices for using differential privacy, which the Epsilon registry relates to, and how we think about that in terms of ethical obligations and legal requirements, for example. Another is how do we set the priorities? This is a breakout group being led by Michael Hay, Andy Veros, and Josh Allen on external compute. So what should we be prioritizing in the plans for OpenDP to integrate with different kinds of external compute infrastructure, and what are the challenges we might encounter in doing so? Another breakout group, I believe being led by Phil, our community managers, Phil and Julian, is on community. And so how do we expand, strengthen, and diversify the OpenDP and make sure that it is a really inclusive community in which people feel able to contribute and all the important stakeholders' voices are heard? And there's finally, we have a breakout group on statistics and thinking about what are the priorities in terms of statistical functionality for the OpenDP software and the OpenDP library. How do we build a utility framework for expressing the utility? This is also kind of related to what John was talking about, expressing and allowing users of the software to reason about the utility that's going to be provided by the use of differential privacy. Okay, so that's one set of things that we're hoping come out of this community meeting. Another one is the software is now at a state where we're really ready for external contributions of a variety of kinds to the software. So we're looking to you all to engage in testing the software, improving the documentation, providing bug reports, issuing asking for feature requests, adding new tools that will be useful to work with the OpenDP software, contribute new differentially private algorithms, and any other kind of general feedback you have on the software. Along with that, we are getting ready to roll out a vetting process for external contributions to the core library of differentially private algorithms. We've been working on building that process and starting it on the internal that our team has been components that our team is building internally, and are very close to being ready to opening up that to external contributions. And finally, I've emphasized that we really want to bring the OpenDP software to applications over the coming months and year. And so we need to expand the notion of community to include a community of users. And how do we build that out? So just to conclude, what we really want is the outcome of this meeting is for us to all come together in a collective effort, realizing that vision of trustworthy differential privacy software, and to be able to work together to bring it to applications with positive social impact. And we hope that many, if not all of you, will find ways to participate in that process. And so with that, let me turn it over to Annie, who's going to talk about the other things, the second half of the presentation.
Okay. Yeah, continue share my screen. This one. Share. Is it? Okay, so did everyone see the outline page? Okay, good. So thank you, Salil, for talking, covering a lot of details. Actually, everybody, you can learn way more details in sessions to follow in the 3 days we have this meeting. So I'm just going to focus on a couple of programs that we ran this year, and then things like licensing CLA, and then how we manage the roadmap. And then I'm going to quickly do an overview of the meeting agenda. So you will probably have a better idea of what to focus on next. So how do you advance slides? Yes. Oh, so Smart Noise Early Adopters Acceleration Program. We're very proud of this program. I just want to start by saying this because it's one of the many great fruits that we have from this long-term partnership with Microsoft. We started the program to sort of beginning of the year, have people sign up because you may or may not know Smart Noise is a product suite with OpenDP library. I think right now it's still the formal version of library at the core, and then with a software development toolkit developed by Microsoft around the library. So that makes it very easy for users to actually access the library and then apply the OpenDP library in their specific use cases. The purpose of this program is to accelerate DP solutions that use Smart Noise and OpenDP, because differential privacy is still a fairly new concept in terms of actual applications in data science. We found that along with our partners at Microsoft, we found that a lot of the actual use cases, they need a lot of help that we can actually provide to them in order to apply the solutions to their problems. So we put out this call in the spring, and then we got like tens of applications. And then we identified 8 teams with the 8 best problems that are very specific. And then they have the resources and then the expertise to start on this journey with us. So their problems are all focused on using differential privacy to unlock data, unlock the power of data to benefit society, right? This is not about, making the bottom line on that. These problems are really to solve social problems. The program this year we're running is from May through October, and then so it's still in progress. And then we expect to have the capstone presentation in November. And I want to mention that there are 2 teams that we are showcasing tomorrow in the application showcase. I can't remember time, I think it's in the afternoon. So one team is the Urban Institute team, and then one team is Cubic. I believe we have their members at this meeting right now. So, this will be very exciting to watch. Basically, we want to show to the community how a real problem is solved, with Smart Noise and OpenDP. Right. Next one is about our OpenDP Fellows program. This is the second one we're very proud of. We're as proud of this program as the Smart Noise Acceleration program. So OpenDP Fellows program, we designed it to be a part-time employer-sponsored residency type of program that we let the DP practitioners and researchers work side by side with the OpenDP core team. They have access to all our resources, and then all the support they need to make contributions to OpenDP. Because as Salil mentioned, this community is really dependent on the contributors like you, and then users like you, to expand the usage of differential privacy to the world. So out of, I think we had 10 or 20 applications, we picked 5 people who are from industry and academia. I think we have 3 from industry and 2 from academia. And they started the journey with us from June through August. So that it was a very short 10-week program. In the future, we're actually looking to prolong the program, because as we ran the program, we realized the projects can take longer. And then if we stop it short at 10 weeks, some part of the project had to be cut in the middle. But we continue to have the OpenDP fellows with us, working side by side. The fellow relationship doesn't end when the program ends. So we're very, very proud of our fellows here. Where's the next slide? Okay. So this year, these are the 5 fellows we had. We had Monica, Greg, Phil, Christian, and Victoria. They all made awesome contribution to the OpenDP project. And then they also gave us a lot of feedback on, what they see from a contributor's perspective. And this helped us to define the contribution process even better. And later today, I believe the 4th session today, we're doing a showcase of the contributors. And now we will have our lovely Victoria and Christian talking to you about their experience as a contributor and then their projects. So more to come on that today. And then the quick correction. So this afternoon, it's already afternoon here, right? Right. So after this session, we have 2 more sessions today. We have one by Andy and Mike talking about the library. And then also after that, we have the contributor showcase. So about licensing and CLA, we are using the MIT license. So the OpenDP project decided to adopt the MIT license as we proposed at our first community meeting last May, when the pandemic sort of first started. So right now, this MIT license is in use with the OpenDP library code, the DP creator, sorry, typo, the DP creator application, and the smart noise software, etc. So the purpose of picking the MIT license is that it has very little restriction on how you can use the software. This way, we can ensure that the user of OpenDP software has the right to use, distribute, and modify, because it's an open source project, we want the users to have the maximum freedom to do that. So I put a link here as the license text. If you go to the OpenDP GitHub repo, OpenDP/OpenDP, that repo, if you click on the license, the file, you will see the full license text. It's pretty straightforward and short. So our software should be pretty easy and free to use. And about CLA, which stands for Contributor License Agreement, right? We also proposed that at our first community meeting last year. And then we received good feedback from the community and also our advisory board regarding pros and cons of using the CLA. So the main purpose of the Contributor License Agreement is not to kind of restrict of what the contributor can do or cannot do. It's mainly for the contributor to state that he or she or they has the right to grant usage license to users of OpenDP. If this doesn't make a lot of sense, please ask questions in the chat. I'll explain more. So in this way, we tried out the contributor license agreement, trial the use with our fellows program, because they are the first group of our, serious contributors, right, to the OpenDP project. And then they read it, they even ran it by their employers. There was no issue because it's a very straightforward basic setting. I have the right to contribute to this software work I did, to the OpenDP project, open source project. And then my employer confirms that this is not an infringement on their IP rights. So simple as that. So the full text is located on actually, I uploaded this PDF file to the OpenDP.org website. If you go to OpenDP.org and then find the contribute page, it's at the bottom, and you can find the link there. That's the licensing CLM. Quick check on time. Okay. And then next, I want to quickly talk about our roadmap management. Salil gave a quick overview of what's on our roadmap. The library extensions, like the DP creator, and then other, collaborations like Epsilon registry. The near-term roadmap is actually published on our website. Go to OpenDP.org. I think it's under About, and you can choose roadmap. You'll see all the details there. We publish it on a quarterly basis to indicate what we're doing right now under implementation and what's in the design phase of the project, or basically what's more to come in the near future. So we adjust this roadmap quarterly, or even a little more frequently than quarterly, depends on how things are going, based on a few things, a few criteria. So first, we want to make sure the things we're working on our roadmap, they are in line with our strategic priority, and then if they have dependencies between each other, we're going to do the predecessor first, right? And then the next important thing is actually the most important kind of external factor, which is the community feedback. For example, if we receive strong feature requests from the community, and then strong feedback on the utility of the functionality, we seriously consider that and adjust our roadmap accordingly. And the third one is sort of a condition kind of fact. Any software development work would have to depend on resource availability and then interest from active contributors in this case, because we're an open source project. We rely on our contributors to make it successful. Right. And then also, last but not least, we on a daily basis, we track our development status through the GitHub tools, and then the issues and project boards are all public. So feel free to go to our GitHub site. It's github.com/OpenDP, and then you can see multiple repositories in there. There's the one named OpenDP. It's pinned on top. That's our library repository, but also you can see the DP creator and the Smart Noise repositories. Okay, just to quickly, go over what's coming up next. So day 1 and day 2, like today and tomorrow, we have these plenary sessions that we are recording. Is mainly like for us us meaning us and contributors, and then use case partners, existing ones, to tell you what we have done and where we're going in way more detail. And then the third day is going to be the very interesting day of working groups. As Salil mentioned, it's critical, because without these working groups, OpenDP would simply not thrive. The agenda can be found on this link. I can quickly click on it, see if it shows. Oh, yes, it does. So today is Wednesday, right? We have gone through the opening remarks, and then project update roadmap coming up at 1:50 p.m. is about the OpenDP library. And then we will have the contributor showcase right after that. And tomorrow, we will start with using the library in applications, which we will do a demo of the DP creator application that is integrated with Dataverse. Dataverse is a data repository that many of you are familiar with, that we integrate to allow users, allow data depositors to use the DP Creator app to generate differentially private statistic releases from their data in Dataverse in a secure way. And then after that, we are going to talk about the submission and vetting process. Phil and Mike, they are leading the process definition. So they will tell you how to contribute and then what the submission and vetting process is. And then we follow by doing the application showcase. As I mentioned, smart noise and use cases. We will have Cubic in the Urban Institute presenting how they use the smart noise to solve their real world problems. And then we will end tomorrow by a very forward-looking panel discussion on federated learning applications, because the OpenDP project is already doing a lot of work to make sure that the OpenDP library can adapt to federated learning applications in the near future. Right, on September 24th, Friday, these are the 7 working groups that we will have, and all led by thought leaders in the community. We are very glad and honored to have them join us for these working groups. So as Salil mentioned, we look to have these working groups on Friday as a starting point. And we hope, more of you will join us, and then, have your colleagues join us on these parallel efforts to, to help advance differential privacy in the real world. I think I should go back to my presentation. This one, no, this one, okay. Okay, oh, okay, so now I know why you see the bar here. You present again, then you don't see the bar, right? Okay, one mystery solved. So if you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@opendp.org. If you have any immediate questions, you can ask in the chat. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can see.
We have time for questions. So
yes.
one question here from Mona: will working group discussions also be recorded? So my understanding is we will have notes taken, and maybe those will be public notes on the working groups rather than recording, so that we can have sort of frank discussions. People feel free to speak frankly in the working groups, but we will have notes that we'll make public.
Okay, I just saw the chat because I was talking. I didn't really follow the chat. So one question here from Philip Conzet. I pronounced your name correctly. Are there differences between data privacy rules that would affect the implementation of OpenDP in different legislations, for example, in the US versus in European Union?
Yeah, I put a response in the chat, which we have a number of experts on that topic here in the meeting. Examples are Alexandra Wood, Aloni Cohen, Kobe Nissim, Deirdre Mulligan. Yes, the space of privacy laws, and I'm not a lawyer, but the space of privacy laws and regulations is very complex and varies highly by jurisdiction. I'm imagining some of the breakout discussions, particularly in the one on best practices for differential privacy, could be a good place to pick the experts' minds about this topic.
Yeah, I know Salil and I covered pretty much a lot and then pretty quickly. If you have any specific questions, like what question you will have about the library, about DP Creator, even about our collaboration and all the programs, for example, how you can join, what you would like to see in those programs, and what your expectation would be for those programs, we will be very happy to hear from you. I see one more question from Rachel Cummings. Can we join the working groups after the workshop for those that would continue working together? Yes, absolutely. similar to Mona, wanted to participate in more than one working group happening in parallel. Yeah, we do realize that we put the working groups in parallel because of the constraints on the team bandwidth. So hopefully, this is a starting point. And then if you're interested in more than one working group, at the same time, you can still read the notes and then follow up with the working group leads and then moderators, and then we can start from there.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Just reinforce what Annie's saying. This is just a starting point. And we don't even know that the working groups that emerge from the meeting, I mean, part of what we want to come out of Friday's discussion is what are the working groups we should actually have? They may not necessarily be in one-to-one correspondence with the breakout sessions that we've planned. We maybe realize that things should be divided in a different way, or there's something important that we've missed and we really need to have a group in the community working on something. And we do want these to be longer term groups that not just the people who are at the community meeting or at Friday sessions are able to participate in. So maybe that's also just kind of another prompt for any questions or feedback from you all, is what are we missing in, we have laid out an agenda for this meeting based on the things that have been on our mind that we see as things we need to engage with you all about and plan for the project. But likely there's some important things missing, and we want to hear from the community on that as well.
Yeah, also, like if you are thinking about applying DP to the data issue you have, for example, you want to publish data, you're concerned about privacy, definitely definitely look at our slide deck, and then we can reach out to you, or you can reach out to us for helping you with the problem, either through a program or through the ways that we're gonna help the community communicate to each other and help each other, right?
Yeah, that's great, Annie. So yeah, in terms of the breakout groups, we have this one breakout discussion that I mentioned that's going to be more about the principles for how do we kind of identify, seek out applications. But something that maybe is kind of missing there in terms of process is the mechanics of what are effective ways of actually connecting the OpenDP software and community with applications. And so we've been trying a few things along those lines, like the Smart Noise Early Adopter Accelerator Program. But we'd be very interested to hear other ideas that folks have, or just come to us with ideas for applications that we can bring the software to.
Yeah, other than application, also like algorithms you would like to see in the library, or things you would like to write, for the library. I'll welcome that. All right, I know I stole some minutes from the previous break, so I'm going to try to end on time here. So give everybody 30 minutes, especially people on the East Coast or wherever you are who haven't had a chance to grab a bite to eat yet. So we will come back at 1:15 for a talk on the library by Andy and Mike. And then during these 30 minutes, we will open up the breakout rooms for you guys to socialize. You can choose to socialize, you can choose not to socialize. It's totally up to you. Okay.
Great. Yes, and that's a correction. I mistakenly said the library presentation was tomorrow. It's right after the break, a half hour from now.
It's like the real meat. You really want to be at the library talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to interacting with you all over the next couple of days.
I'm going to open up breakout rooms now, and then we'll come back at 1:15.